We're live on YouTube too. I just want to bring this over a bit. My calendar here. I'm going to stand right this. Okay. So officially, I'm going to talk to you guys a bit about video games and how that kind of lines up to how I look at the way reality can be like modeled or talked about, right? So when you're playing a video game, right, before you enter the game, you need to choose a character, right? So in first-person shooter games, it's a very linear thing, right? It's very different to RPG, where you have your framework, your HUD is going to tell you everything that you need to know. Now, Cortana in the world of Halo has the function of being like your helpful AI assistant. In the books and in the Forerunner lore, the tech, like if you play Halo Reach, the package that you are getting out to basically win the war or shift the tide is Cortana herself, which is Forerunner tech, which in the books, it's more explained that each armor comes with it like this blue fairy, like this blue helpful AI assistant that is not just Cortana, is tuned to you. So and she is also then in tune with like everything else. So it's in the specific Halo video game, the way it kind of works is that Halsey, who is kind of like the director or doctor behind the Spartan program. So let's bring this back. Halo is a video game. It was released. It's like super old. I don't remember the Halo 1 video game. My personal background with Halo has been Halo 2. Halo 2 had a multiplayer framework. And so I have memories of being in the basement with my friends, LAN parties, hooking up 2 Xboxes and having 2 big screen TVs in the basement and having like 8-player fun time, right? Yes, please do send me a Black Cat scene. And I also found, I'm like, Black Cat's eyes are green. I didn't realize that. I thought they were blue for some reason. So I'll be more comic book correct a little bit later with Felicia. And I'll have her more persona, which we're going to talk about roguish charm. And I've realized a lot of people don't like MJ. But I feel like that might be because Kirsten Dunst, the way she played MJ in the movies, her eyes are green. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, Felicia's eyes are green, right? They're green. It's hard to tell in some of the comic books, but she'll have green eyes later. Just so you guys know. So bringing it back to Halo and Dandy Moneyman, hi, welcome. We're talking about the video game of life as a framework of how you can kind of even look at your astrological profile in a similar kind of blueprint way. So in Halo, the premise of the game is that you get to embody Master Chief, who's a super soldier from the future. We are in the future. We're dealing with an alien attack from the Covenant. Now, what we don't know is that the galactic history of human beings is far more ancient than we have been led to believe. So way back in the day, the Forerunners, which now in the current time don't exist any longer. They have been extinguished, and I'll talk about why, or how rather. But the Forerunners saw themselves, they're like an ancient race who at the time lived in, I don't want to say in cooperation, but they were living in the same time as human beings as well. But we want to think of human beings like in an ancient time when we were already intergalactic. So Forerunners and human beings and all these other alien races were living in this different ancient time. Now, something happens, the flood, right? It's like this infestation, like zombie disease, this hive mind thing that just eats and eats and eats. And what ends up happening is that human beings start running from it. This is misinterpreted by the Forerunners as being an act of war. And so the Forerunners and human beings go to war against each other. Now, the result of this war is that the Forerunners win, and they punish human beings by de-evolving them and seeding them on Earth, basically. I forget what they call it in the books, or it's not called Earth, it's called something else. But they basically de-evolved humans to being like Cro-Magnons again, like cave people, and then put them back on Earth. And only with like deep-seated little memories from an entity known as the Librarian which has some reminders of their galactic past that was much more evolved. So human beings, of course, in the game, I love how they're called the Reclaimers, because there's a reclamation of birthright. There has been a whole history of their galactic past that has been wiped out, but you do have people within the Forerunners. So after the Forerunners do this to human beings, they feel like they've won the war, right? But what the Forerunners didn't know was that human beings were really trying to outrun the flood, which was this disease that just ate and ate and ate. It's kind of like a zombie disease, cancer, organic, and it brings to that question of like life itself. It's life, right? And so the Forerunners don't know what to do with this, because they are the holders of the mantle of life in all its forms, even this parasitic life, right? So what has happened is now the flood is now attacking them, and they're losing. And they've realized too that they have destroyed humanity, which held the key to destroying the flood, right? So it's like, so what the Forerunners did in this case was that they, I forget what ends up happening, but they talk to the librarian about this. There's hidden secrets and paths. That's why the Oracle calls Master Chief the Reclaimer. Human beings are the Reclaimers, right? So, anyways, the Forerunners realize now they're dealing with this great threat, and the Forerunners are actually very similar to like I think Kryptonians, ancient Atlanteans. Anytime I'm there, maybe Cortana is a version of Oracle. Is this a Starfire cosplay? No, this is Cortana, right? I'm just talking about the Halo lore from that perspective, right? Okay, so where was I in the story? Yes, so human beings, we've been de-evolved, reseeded on Earth, no idea, right? But then the Forerunners are like, oh crap, we killed the only people who knew anything about how to destroy the flood. What do we do? So they come up with a few strategies. One of them is to build, hey Pikachu, Pika Pika, welcome to the live. I'm your friendly AI assistant, Cortana, here to help you in the video game of life. So I wish you all your all the cheat codes, all of the secret passageways, little doors that you need to get through if you feel like you're stuck. That's like R2D2 and stuff too, right? Like open the door, or the secret passcodes, or get me an exit, that kind of thing. Hi. Oh yes, aka Rachel. Yes. And I feel like, oh my gosh, you guys. So the last few days have been tough for me because I've been having trouble sleeping. And I was telling this to my hubby the other day. I'm like, one of those things that, like if you don't sleep, you don't dream. And if you don't dream, then you don't get to go out and do your dream warrior things. So we spend so much of our time in our dream state that we should be, I don't know. I wish you guys great dreams, because I actually got to sleep proper last night, and I woke up this morning like, oh my gosh, I need to do Cortana. I need to be Cortana for you guys, because also this is also a character in my own movie called Kara, where I've borrowed from Halo's idea of cloning the organic brain to make an AI. So nothing's necessarily even made from net new. It's built off of other memories. More about that in just a second. Like, what makes a soul? I don't have an answer. We can all ponder that, I think, especially in the new world that we find ourselves in, right? Where was I? Oh, yes. Okay. So flood is still a threat. They created the Halo rings, and that's why the video game is called Halo. The Halo rings are actually weapons. They're an array to eradicate all life in the cosmos. And they actually end up getting activated. And this is what kills the Forerunners. And it's like a good thing that I guess human beings were reseeded when they were, right? Because they managed to survive it. Great stuff. Thank you. Let's hear, hi, Bella. Welcome, welcome. So after this point, they activate the Halo rings. The Forerunners are destroyed. The flood is destroyed. We're back now to like a reset. And we now have the beginning of the Halo game, where we now have the Covenant, which like this coalition of different alien groups that have come upon the Forerunner tech, have decided that it has some sort of religious significance. They have no idea that the halo rings are actually going to destroy everything. They just like worshiping it as like, oh, they worship the forerunners, which are now extinct, as gods, basically. And then they attack Earth. They glass reach. They do like they start to they're the covenant. You either assimilate to their belief system or they destroy you. And of course, we do not assimilate. We resist. So the Spartan program in the Halo universe are a group of super soldiers that are created in order to handle these types of threats. And so now human beings have now evolved rapidly to a point of being their intergalactic selves again, right? And the Forerunner tech that they basically use in the game are the armor, but also how Cortana interfaces with that armor and is able to like do things for Master Chief, like pull up all the appropriate files, find an exit, or like I need a weapon, that kind of that kind of stuff. Also, remember Cortana is built off of Dr. Halsey's brain cortex, her organic system, right? So it's almost like all of those, like in my book, the way I kind of put it is like you're able to have your mind and think logically about things without these extra like emotions and like other things going on. And it's said that Cortana's first words when she was created were that, you know, at the end of the game, the king and the pawn go back in the same box. Right. So remember that we are users. We exist outside of the game as opposed to just being only in this game right now. So that was just some background on Halo. First person shooters like Halo are very unique in the sense that it's like VR. And I would really love it if Halo had a true VR implementation. I used to do a lot of work with the Oculus Rift. When I was a project manager for pharmaceutical companies, we would do things like use the VR headset to simulate what it was like to have an asthmatic attack and things like that. But to have a whole Halo game with like maybe a playground that simulates that as well would be kind of cool, right? Because think about it, all of that training, the hand-eye coordination in video games, it all happens in your mind first. That's the first step to anything happening with your body. I was a personal trainer. I still am for years. I still go to the gym 4 times a week, right? And any movement that you do when it comes to either like shoulder press or bicep curl or you're doing a squat, it all has to come in your mind first. And I can tell you, the moment you're kind of thinking about something else, that's when injury happens, right? Because if you're not fully aligned and let's say you do a really, really heavy squat and something's off in your like vertebrae, you can F yourself, right? And that's why I never liked things like CrossFit, and I never liked things that you put your body at a risk that's like not needed. Like some things, I get it, right? If you're doing a contact sport, there are certain risks that you take on in order for that game to happen, right? That's like the consent that we have when we're playing the game, right? And so I'd like for you guys to just take a moment, and if you think about your own life in that perspective, that it is all a game, but not necessarily a game that it doesn't have to be competitive. You can have, oh, Ross, I know exactly what you're going at here. There's one thing you risk in a contact sport, but that's why you wear shock straps, no? To prevent such, valuable jewels being smushed, that kind of thing. Actually, you know what's funny? In Chainsaw Man, in that first episode, he's like, I fight dirty. And so when he fights the other guy, he just kicks him in the junk multiple times. The guy's like, I can't believe you're just kicking me in the nuts all the time. That's not this. Where's the honor in that? I mean, if you don't forget them. Oh, fair enough, Ross. All right. So let's bring this to the astrology. I'm going to use let's call it the model of a video game to talk about astrology, right? So think about maps. So I play Borderlands 3 with my sister. We're still working through the latest DLC, and I'm aware that Borderlands 4 came out. I haven't played it yet. I don't have an opinion yet. But I love Mose, however you want to say her name, in Borderlands 3. But you should watch Chainsaw Man. It's a good one. In the games, right, you have a map. it's so the map, so you know where you are. And my sister has a common joke with me. She's like, Rachel doesn't know how to read maps. It's true. It's also why I like having other people to play with. At least if I don't know where I am, I know where you are and I can come to where you are. Right, in terms of the map, because my hubby always says that to me. He's like, don't you see all the guys on your radar, your map? I'm like, I'm too freaked out looking in front of me to be looking at the map at the same time. So when I think of the map, that's what astrology is, right? It's not for us to believe in. I'm not believing in the fact that like there's an end goal, or that there's a portal over here, or there's a door behind there, or there's health over in the other side. That's what the map is saying. And it's more about us learning what symbols mean. Like if you didn't know that health was like the health cross, right? You wouldn't know, and then you wouldn't get the health, and you wouldn't be restored. So knowing how to interpret these symbols of the map without us getting, let's say, emotionally triggered by past games or past instances or journeys where we've gotten hurt by things, or we've perhaps set up something where we're like, okay, what would I say before mushing valuable jewels? You know what? You know what I realized too with when you're doing martial arts, it's like hiya, that kind of thing. Probably something like that. Hey, Jesus says, I'm talking about the video game of life, just from a modeling perspective. So as Cortana, your friendly guide you through whatever life is for you, I look at it as like, if you're out in the darkness and you look up into the night sky and you see the moon, right? All of us across the globe can see the moon is full. Now, whether or not you think the moon being full is a good thing or a bad thing, that is really up to you, right? Like even eclipses, right? The meaning that we ascribe to the eclipse based on different cultures, it's going to be different. Oftentimes, it's not necessarily a good thing because it signals change. But change does not have to be negative. However, change can be chaotic just because we don't know where things are going to land. And so it's a matter of us realizing our anchor points in things, right? So that's why I tell you that to know yourself, to, like for me, I know how to replenish myself. Like I know that I can't be in social situations for too long. I need to have time like to myself, completely private, even with people that I love, right? I literally had you skipping on repeat for 30 seconds. Crazy. Was that like a glitch? Glitch in the universe kind of situation. But I was bringing in astrology in the sense because I didn't want it to be something where it's like a belief system. I'm not trying to advocate a kind of belief system. I'm just trying to say that to be aware of different meanings behind the symbols that we see in our everyday life, right? And realize that your whole body, even though you're maybe only paying attention to this spectrum of it, is taking in all this information, which is why your dream space and your sleep space is very important, because it gives your body the time to like parse through all the information that you haven't had time to consciously in a day take in, right? Like I can tell you the amount of times that like I've gone back to comic books, I've gone back to video games, gone back to movies I've seen millions of times and seen something new this time that I watched it, right? Because each time you are interfacing with anything, with any art, is going to be new. You don't step in the same river twice. The language of the universe and cosmos is change, and we change with it. You're not the same person you were yesterday, nor are you going to be the same person tomorrow, and that's okay, right? What ties it all together is your memory, right? Our stories that we tell ourselves about our day, about our lives, about who we are, about who you are, about what happened today. All these little mundane things, they all matter, right? But I just wanted to tell, like, I have always loved video games. I'm not your average girl. I guess I was kind of a tomboy growing up, but I also had a lot of girlfriends too. So I got to be a great matchmaker, right? Because I had a lot of guy friends because I played video games with them, and like a lot of them did have crushes on me in the beginning, but then later as we got to know each other, realized that like we're truly just friends, right? And I think even in love relationships, for us to learn how to be a good friend, that's like important, right? I can tell you're not average. Came back to the narrative, please. Oh, yes. Thank you, Caviar. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing it back. So I am Cortana from Halo, and the big topic I wanted to talk to you guys about was about us just being a bit more granular and a bit more specific when we're talking about things like the AI. Okay, it's because I used to work in digital. I used to be a digital project manager, right? And I used to work for like KPMG, the hospital, so corporate. And in corporate, you have something that's called like jargon, right? So I'm sure some of you guys still work in the world, in the corporate world, and you end up with different languaging, like, we would say things like ship it or sprint planning or these different terms that only make sense in the context of what it is that you're doing, right? So think of those as all like little mini games, right, in the bigger game. So you have like work life, let's say, is a game, and some people do their work life as something a bit more trade oriented or service oriented. And so their game is going to be like, oh, how do I get clients? How then I have retention for clients, and then maybe I need to update my skill set so that I like know how to do different things and like offer different services. Versus what I was doing being a project manager was we were building, let's say, implementations or an application for diabetes, and then I would pull together developers, designers, and all of that together to make a plan, and we would release, right? But the idea of release, like release schedule, versioning, all of that in the context of sprint planning and software application has very different meanings than when you take it outside of it, right? So same thing goes with things like astrology, with things like when we say things like belief or love or hope, what these things mean to people on a very personal level is different, right? For me, songs, music have been a really ultimate way I feel like the universe speaks to me. Oh yeah, you too. Jesus saves. Nice seeing you. Sorry about the glitch in the Matrix, by the way. The Matrix too, right? This I love Jesus too. Jesus is the great let's call it hero character in this life. When we do need more figures like that. It's been 2,000 years, right? A little bit. Well, I don't know. Time. What is time? Our perspective of it, all of that kind of stuff. All we really have to ground ourselves is what we know in our heart of hearts, right? And just practicing discernment. And it can be hard to trust, right? Especially when we live in a world where you can AI prompt everything. I saw the other day how there's controversy that the latest Batman comic was all AI generated, right? And there's tells that artists have to others, right, where you can tell that you didn't spend the time to like work and storyboard and erase and redo and all of that kind of stuff, right? The human genius, we can sense this stuff in each other, right? That's something I think the je ne sais quoi when it comes to like when we are beholding art and how we are the ones that bring it into life, right? So even this right now, like if I wasn't talking to anyone, they're still going to have value because there's someone somewhere out there watching, right? Even after the fact, right? You think of all the great artists that like died penniless, only like, Vincent van Gogh, like now like your art goes for like millions of dollars, but they themselves, when they were creating that art, that was not the point, right? It was the art. You just had to, you must, you have to. So when I do cosplay with you guys, I'll let you guys know, like, that's kind of how I've been trying to make a schedule, but it's been hard because sometimes we just need to hear the stories that are there, and it's timing of it, right? Because I've done Cortana many times before. I've played Halo in Cortana's cosplay as this kind of idea of meta showing video games and bringing that to life, right? But in your own video game of life, what that game looks like is really up to you. I think the biggest lie is that we don't have as much power as what we think. And the helpful assistant that is here to help you in your AI world, right? Only you are going to be able to know where your line is when it comes to interfacing with any technology. And I don't just mean AI. I mean everything from like digital ID to two-factor authentication to what kind of cell phone are you going to use? How much screen time do you do? Do you read a real book or do you read it on Kindle? Are you going to be watching the movie of it or are you going to read the comic book? So all of your choices in terms of how you are going to interface with reality, it's really up to you. You will decide. This whole AI threat, let's say the Terminator, the dreams that some of us have had, because I have had dystopic dreams. I've talked about this with my friend, how Toronto, because I'm in downtown Toronto, is actually built on top of a lot of stuff we don't know. Right? And we're next to Great Lakes. There's sacred spots. We don't do anything to realize how sacred a lot of the earth is. And we just build on top of it with no qualms, no anything asked, right? Like even when I think about, you're doing an event somewhere, just, placing your hands on the earth and asking for a second, like for permission from the universe, because we do not own the planet. We do not own this game, right? This is an earth school that we have been gifted to have life in for us to explore and be the universe finding out about itself through the character that is you. So that's my perspective on it. And in terms of Halo and the fact that we have campaign evolved, right? This idea that we're going back to a previous iteration and then re-exploring it and making it net new is something beautiful, I think, about the universe. Okay, so let me go into, I wanted to go into Tron and, entering the game a little bit. Let's see here. Daft Punk. Oh, I like this ambient music. Because I wanted to do some readings with you guys from a perspective of Cortana. So let's think of like prophecy. So prophecy from, like, you can get the AI to do card readings for you, right? You can get the AI to like ask, you can ask certain questions where it's like randomized, or even when we play D&D, right? That's the random action. Is anything, and it's like so, and they're fun. So I'll put Tron music playing behind, and then I'm gonna grab my card. Hyperboxy. We're gonna do some readings now. Just like astrology, the tarot deck. Alan Moore talks about this, and so does Jodorowsky, that it's a map as well, right? So the major arcana, especially in tarot, from the Fool to the World, is also the journey of how a soul becomes immortal, right? The journey, the hero's journey, right? How we go out into the world, we get a little lost, and we find ourselves, and then we bring home wisdom to make our world a better place. So to all of you doing that out there, let's do it. Hey, Mrs. Che. Green. Also, I'm working on a new show called The Dog Mom Diaries. Okay, so all of you, well, I mean, I don't want it to just be dog, but fur babies, like I love dogs. Maybe fur baby diaries. It doesn't have the same ring to it, though. I'll think of something. Hey, Humpty. So we're going to do a read. I'm Cortana from Halo, your friendly AI assistant in the cosmic game. And we're going to do a pick 2 card read in tarot using my Shadowscapes deck, which is a deck I've had for quite a while. I keep it in here. Alvin! Oh, hi! You've transformed. And so I also have my Astro Dice. So I've taken the Astro Dice and infused it with the D20 for Dungeons and Dragons to make a proprietary theme. If you guys are interested, just very soon. Okay, so let's do a 2-card read. Ah, Darren, happy Halloween. Oh, thank you. She's going to be a character in my upcoming movie as well. So, and if you guys want to support that, it'll be up on Indiegogo by Halloween. All right, so this card wants to know. 4 of Cups. I'm going to read more on that a little bit later. Oh, he came up before too. I like to think of the Knight of Pentacles as like Earth warrior activation energy. Yes, Hyper. I'm going to do more reading. If you guys want to get a reading from me, I think I have on what is today? Tuesday? Yes. So Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, I do most of my divination time. So I use like pendulums here. It depends on what the question is or what we're trying to ask the universe, right? Because there's so much intel out there. It can be overwhelming if we don't ground ourselves in what we're trying to ask and what we're trying to do. So the first card that came up we have is interesting. There's a lot of stagnation here. Oh, nostalgia. Yes. All right, I feel that, universe. I feel that. All right, so what an interesting card to bring up because it's like going back into the future situation, right? So this idea of us, I mean, in my own chart, I have things that I need to work on in terms of being able to let go of the past, right? We can hold on to old ghosts. And because of that, and also I missed some, oh geez, oh Jays, thank you for that. Oh, and thank you guys, butterflies, I love it. So this 4 of Cups, I was asking the universe about how, like, based on what we're talking about, it's bringing up stagnation, right? It's bringing up this idea of, you can see here that she's looking at, that story of Narcissist, where like you're looking at your reflection and like your own self-pity, right? To realize there are other opportunities about. Oh, good. This is a good thing. Now, it's about it coming to an end. Yes, because the way I pulled it was, you pulled this card 3 times last night. Yeah, so this is a lot of it. It's like a sign from the universe that things do need to change, right? Like, as much as I'm a Taurus, right? So certain individuals have a harder time letting go of old things, like old relationships, old friendships, even though they're toxic friendships. That's so for me. For example, I have definitely feeling guilty of being the type of person who stays in relationships far longer than they should, right? Because of memory, because you had such good times in the past, right? And it's not, you don't dishonor your past memories by moving towards a new place in your consciousness now. You know what I mean? And not all the past relationships get to come with you, and you can end up in a stagnant position if you stay back for other people, right? Sometimes you need to have courage to step out and just go at it alone. That's the vibe I get from that, because I have a tough time doing that too, you guys. And Omar, yeah, I don't. What sign are you, by the way? Are you a fixed sign? Like Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, we have a hard time with like that, like letting go of the past to step forward and realizing not to throw the baby out with the water, right? Just you can take those learnings with you, right? Gemini Sun, Aries Moon, very spicy. I'm a Taurus Sun. I'm a Gemini Moon, but I'm an Aries rising. So those fun early signs, I find we can have a tough time with like growing up too. So I'm helpful wholeheartedly admit that. So Knight of Pentacles is the with a dash of Black Moon Lilith in my Saturn. Ooh, spicy shadow dancing. I have Black Moon Lilith on my ascendant. Black Moon Lilith, we'll do a whole thing with Black Moon Lilith. It's where you have shame, right? But also where other people project their shame onto you. So Knight of Pentacles is the clarifying card I picked on top of this feeling of nostalgia. And someone asked about Capricorn construction. Capricorn's an earth sign, just like Taurus, but it's cardinal. So you'll probably vibe with this card. The pentacles represent earth signs. So the earth signs in zodiac are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Now, Knight of Pentacles, I look at it like you could start like holding a dragon, right? Pentacles also represents wealth and resources, as well as like what is money, right? Money is not the same thing as value per se, right? Because you cannot eat money, right? It only has value in our ability to exchange it and other people finding it valuable. So what I get from this is that all of us, the knight, right? This idea of forging forward on quest and pentacles being grounded in earth, it's like earth warrior energy, right? For us to go past the stagnation that we're in right now, this constant pulling back to the past, old narratives, old stories, all this old stuff, and like how the construct likes to keep us back by bringing back old memories and like, don't you remember the good times that we used to have? Don't you remember this? I'm like, yeah, but you're abusive. So no, right? So not to get stuck in the past and have the courage within ourselves to step forward, lean into ourselves to find the resources that we need and the gifts around us, right? From other people who are on that journey, who feel that they are a voice for this planet, for the earth, and all the things that cannot be said, right? To use that energy towards to move past stagnation and inertia into something new, right? And something that serves all of us as brothers and sisters. We are the kings and queens of the kingdom of earth. That's the way I kind of look at it, right? There can be more than one, and this game does not have to be one person. Okay, 10 grand at the time. You guys, great. So I'm going to end this here. I'm going to be filming actually some stuff with Kara. This is actually a character in my upcoming movie, which I'm funding on Indiegogo, which is The Dragon Warriors Escape from District 6. So I've taken big cities of this world, right, and mapped a digital map on top of it. And the idea is to activate different energy centers as per ley lines, aka dragons, so that we open up a portal into a higher, more beautiful state. We do magical things. We're just in a more harmonious way of being with each other. It is possible, right? It's not going to be easy. A lot of discussions need to happen, and it doesn't mean that it's not going to come without conflict, but it doesn't need to come with cruelty. It can be done in a way that it's the necessary like synthesis and transformation. Right? So that's, I think, it for me for now. I'll be back on a little bit later. We're going to Tron a little later, Tron Legacy with some Daft Punk funk in it, future funk sounds later. And I'll be back on for a comic book read late tonight as Felicia Hardy. We're going to be reading a Spider-Man comic book, which deals with some RPG D&D stuff. So some fun times too there. So make sure you're followed, subscribed, all that kind of fun stuff. And I hope you enjoyed this little reading as Cortana, your helpful AI assistant, is cosmic amplifier. Okay? And remember, I'm going to sign off for now. Bye, guys. And make sure that, if you have to take rest in your game, if you need to get supplies, all that kind of stuff, try asking the universe. Never know. Okay, guys, until next time, remember, it takes true courage for you to play as exactly you in the cosmic way. So be sure to show up. Universe, just keep taking it. But you're back. Until next time, your time.